Welcome to the deep dive. Okay, today we're digging into something you hear about, well, everywhere. The gluten-free diet.
It's huge, isn't it?
Totally. It's often framed as just, healthier for everyone. A real wellness trend. Maybe you've even tried it or thought about it without a specific medical diagnosis. But is that perception really accurate? That's our mission for this deep dive.
Yeah.
To pull out the key facts, maybe some surprising ones from the research about the risks of going gluten-free if you don't medically need to.
Yeah, okay. So maybe first, just briefly, what is gluten?
Good point.
It's basically a mix of proteins. You find it mainly in grains like wheat, rye, and barley. And look, it's really crucial to state up front. For some folks, a gluten-free diet isn't some lifestyle choice. It's a vital medical treatment.
Right, like for celiac disease.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Celiac is a serious autoimmune condition where gluten damages the small intestine. Then there's also non-celiac gluten sensitivity and specific wheat allergies. For people with these conditions, avoiding gluten is absolutely non-negotiable. It's essential.
Okay, so vital for some, understood. But what about the many other people adopting it, thinking it's just a healthier way to eat, period? What does the science say happens then? Because I think the default assumption is, it must be better.
Right, and that's where things get really interesting, and maybe not what people expect. One of the main concerns that pops up is the risk of nutritional deficiencies.
Deficiencies. How so?
Well, think about it. Many common gluten-containing foods, like your standard breads and cereals, they're often fortified. They have added B vitamins like folate, thiamine, and minerals like iron.
Okay.
Now, here's the twist. A lot of the processed gluten-free replacements, they often lack that fortification, and kind of ironically, to make them taste good, they can sometimes be much higher in sugar, unhealthy fats, even sodium, and lower in fiber too.
Wow, okay. So it's not necessarily an upgrade.
It can be the opposite, nutritionally speaking. If someone isn't super careful, this swap can quietly lead to lower levels of iron, those B vitamins we mentioned, calcium, zinc, quite a few important nutrients actually.
That's a really big point, that the healthier option might actually be stripping out essential stuff. But it's not just about what you're missing, is it? What about the gut, the microbiome? Everyone's talking about gut health.
Absolutely. The gut microbiome doesn't always react well either. Studies have shown that going gluten-free can actually reduce the numbers of beneficial bacteria. Think bifidobacterium and lactobacillus, the good guys.
The ones you want more of.
Exactly. And potentially, you might see an increase in less desirable, maybe even pathogenic bacteria. This shift, this sort of imbalance, it's called dysbiosis.
And that connects to other issues, right?
It can. If you link it to the bigger picture, this kind of dysbiosis is associated with increased intestinal permeability. You might have heard it called leaky gut. And that in turn can be linked to more systemic inflammation, potentially contributing to, wider chronic health problems down the line.
That's concerning. Especially if people are going gluten-free to improve health. What about heart health or metabolic health? Any links there for people without a medical need?
Well, this is another surprising area. For people who don't have celiac disease, eating gluten long-term hasn't actually been linked to a higher risk of heart disease.
Really?
Yeah. In fact, some research suggests the opposite might happen. Non-celiac individuals cutting out gluten might accidentally increase their heart disease risk.
How could that be?
Often, it's because they end up eating fewer beneficial whole grains. We know whole grains are generally protective for heart health. It's also interesting. Even people with celiac disease, once they go on a strict gluten-free diet, sometimes show an increased risk of obesity and metabolic syndrome later on.
Wait, why would that happen if the diet is necessary for them?
Well, part of it is good news. Their gut heals, so they absorb nutrients better. But another factor can be, again, the nutritional quality of many readily available processed gluten-free foods. They might rely too much on those less than ideal options.
Okay, so we've covered nutrition, gut health, even cardiovascular aspects. But there's more to it, isn't there? This makes me wonder about the psychological side, the social impact, especially if you're doing this without a strict medical need.
Oh, definitely. Those impacts are pretty significant and maybe not talked about enough. There are psychological risks. Sometimes it can contribute to things like orthorexia nervosa, that's an unhealthy obsession with eating pure or correct foods. And we do see higher rates of anxiety and depression, particularly in diagnosed celiac patients who are managing this very restrictive diet day in, day out. Then there are the practical everyday challenges.
Like the cost.
Exactly. Gluten-free products are almost always more expensive, often 2, even 3 times the price.
Yeah.
And the constant need to be vigilant, checking labels, worrying about cross-contamination, especially eating out or at social events, that can cause real anxiety and sometimes lead to feeling isolated.
So putting this all together, what's the core message for you listening right now, maybe trying to make sense of all the diet noise out there?
I think the main takeaway is this. Yes, a gluten-free diet is absolutely life-changing. It's essential for certain medical conditions. But it is not some kind of universal health tonic. It's not inherently better for everyone.
So for most people.
For the vast majority of people, gluten itself isn't harmful. And gluten-containing whole grains actually provide really valuable nutrients. Now, if you do need to be gluten-free for medical reasons, the focus should really be on naturally gluten-free whole foods.
Like what?
Fruits, vegetables, lean proteins, nuts, seeds, and getting familiar with naturally gluten-free grains like quinoa, amaranth, buckwheat, certified gluten-free oats. And this is critical working with a doctor and ideally a registered dietitian. They can help make sure your diet is truly balanced and you're not missing out.
Makes sense. Okay, our final thought for you today. Instead of just chasing the latest dietary trend like gluten-free, maybe the real deep dive should be into the overall quality of your food choices.
Good point.
Could focusing consistently on whole, minimally processed, nutrient-dense foods, whatever their gluten status, assuming you don't have a medical issue, actually be the more direct path to lasting wellness? Something to mull over until our next deep dive.